Okey. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah kita bersama lagi dalam Pilot Talk. Kali ni Dr. Har dulu yang masuk. Kita tunggu sekejap Syiffa Rosman. Alhamdulillah kena pakai cermin mata ni. Kalau tak nampak. Okey. Khabar semua. Ya, ni syuhada ini. Muhammad ada, Nabiha. Alhamdulillah ya. Bolehlah kot ingatkan kawan-kawan ya kot. Ada yang terlupa ke ya. Hari ni appointment kita tiap-tiap bulan dalam Pilot Talk ni. Dr. dapat respon juga. Kata Pilot Talk ni dia punya tajuk tu ya memang agak relevan lah ya dengan suasana. Kadang-kadang kita nak cerita kat orang pun susah ya. Kita nak orang kata nak huraikan pun mungkin perlukan orang yang tu tahu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Syiffa, apa khabar?
Waalaikumsalam.
Alhamdulillah.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam. So hari ni Dr. Har, Alhamdulillah Dr. Har kata okey, Dr. Har kena masuk dululah. Jadi kan selalu tu Syiffa saja yang masuk dulu. So hari ni Dr. Har dulu yang meraihkan atau mengalu-alukan tetamu kita lah yang berada dalam kita punya sesi ni. Ya, Syiffa, dan tajuk hari ni rasanya tajuk yang lama dah kita patut bincang atau nak bincang, tapi kita pun ada vulnerability kita nak bincang pasal topik ni kan. Jadi kita mungkin ambil masa ni, kiranya dah ada apa kata, kita punya followers ada strength sikit, ada kekuatan sikit, maka kita bincang tajuk ni. Dan untuk bincang tajuk ni Dr. Har memang bukan habislah, maknanya Dr. Har baca buku Daring Greatly yang tulisan Brené Brown ni kan. Dan Dr. Han memang dah baca topik tu tentang love tu sendiri sebagai satu yang sangat vulnerable. Jadi tapi Dr. Han baca lagi sebabnya rasa mungkin ada banyak juga poin yang kita kena bincangkan. Kan?
Betul.
Okay. So maybe Syiffa nak tegur dululah. Tegur siapa dulu. Ada rakan-rakan yang bersama, silakan.
Okay, terima kasih semua yang join. Alhamdulillah, terima kasih jugalah Dr. Har sekali lagi kan. Kita dapat continue sesi Pilot Talk kita. Walaupun kita punya viewers ni ups and down. Macam last month tinggi juga kan. Mungkin dia bergantung jugalah kan. Mungkin ada aktiviti ke dekat rumah yang buatkan diorang tak dapat join. Tapi terima kasihlah untuk semua orang yang ambil kesempatan untuk bersama-sama berpilot talk dengan Dr. Har juga kan. Dan hari ni Syiffa, insyaAllah lah Syiffa lama sebenarnya bila wakil Akademi Dr. Har suruh Syiffa macam propose tajuk, dia berhenti dekat tajuk ni lama, macam patut ke tak patut teruskan. Tapi dia tajuk Love Shouldn't Hurt Women's Rights in Relationship ni, Syiffa rasa Syiffa macam patut teruskan juga sebab this few weeks I think tak tahu kenapa there are few cases yang mungkin umum pun tahu tentang hak-hak keperempuanan ni macam telah dipijak-pijak, macam they don't respect the rights, and sometimes women herself tak tahu apa hak mereka dalam sesebuah perhubungan. Perhubungan ni, yes, yang Syiffa nak fokuskan adalah pertama, perhubungan dari segi cinta tu sendirilah, perhubungan antara berlawanan jantina, sama ada suami isteri ataupun yang masih dalam proses bertunang, bertaaruf, berkenalan. Yang kedua pula adalah tentang hak seorang perempuan dalam keluarga mereka, hak sebagai seorang anak kepada ibu bapa, dan juga ibu bapa punya hak kepada anaknya sendiri. Dan this topik yang buatkan Syifah rasa we should go for it adalah, pertamanya 2-3 minggu lepas kita tengok macam mana ada seorang umum tahulah bagaimana seorang konglomerat ni, kita tahu kesesnya dia telah dera isteri mereka, dera isteri dia, dan kemudian hak penjagaan anak seorang isteri tu tidak diberi, macam tak ada, orang kata apa, tak ada tolak ansur, macam tu, dalam perhubungan tak ada tolak ansur. So all these situations yang Syifah tengok adalah puncanya adalah it starts with love, but after a while cinta tu telah menyakitkan hati certain party, pihak yang satu lagi, okay? Dan macam kita tahu kan, macam Dr. Har kan ada baca buku Daring Greatly, dan Dr. Har ada kata tadi, Dr. Har ada baca yang Why Love is Very Vulnerable. Boleh ke Dr. Har kongsikan apakah yang dimasukkan dengan cinta tu sendiri, and why we consider love is vulnerable sebelum kita masuk kepada kenapa love tu tak patut menyakitkan.
Okay, alright. This is going to be heavy stuff, so you all. So you better brace yourself. Okay. Dia sebenarnya kalau, I think the good thing about pillow talk is that when you, kan pillow talk tu selalu kita macam dah unwind, kan, and so kita punya brain punya wave pun dah, and selalunya hari Ahad macam that's why kita buat Ahad kan, Ahad malam, esoknya Isnin, because we had our rest lah ataupun whatever lah, we had time for ourselves, and then besok we are ready to go again. Okay, so agaknya malam ni kita buat sikit reflection and you know, we take stock lah. Okay, the topic is so important sebab agaknya kasih sayang atau love tu is very essential because it's part of humans need, and this is when you look into the Maslow hierarchy of human needs, kan Syifah, you will see that love is somewhere in between tu, kat tengah-tengah dah. You have your physiological needs, you know, like you need to eat, you need to drink, you know, you need oxygen, okay, and something that you eat need to come out, okay. Even having sex is actually down there lah, which is the 4F tu, yeah, feed, fornicate, flight and fight. So these are all, you know, the basic need for you to become a human macam tu, kan. And on top of that layer, hierarchy tu, and Maslow punya explanation is the need yang kat bawah tu kena fulfill dulu, only then you can actually start to think about need yang lain tu. That's why if you barely had enough, so you just, you know, all your mind, your body, your soul semua just want to get something to eat, and of course if you had to maybe, you know, live under the bridge ke, it's okay, and because, you know, as long as you get your basic requirement. Tapi of course if your basic requirement is all secured, then you start to think about safety, you know, and this is actually when you start to have, you want to make sure there's a proper roof on top of your head, macam tu lah kan. And then on top of that is actually love, you know, the need to love and to be loved, yeah, the sense of belonging. Okay, so that is after you had all this, then you start to look around and say, hey, I need to share this with somebody. And then start lah. And then suddenly this is your emotional needs, kan? So this is where you start to think whether, you know, I want to be made happy as much as I want to make other people happy, gitu kan. And suddenly love becomes so meaningful because this is how you connect with other people. If you look into the brain development, this is actually the limbic system, which is the mammal brain, you know, and this is shared by all mammals who actually got their name from the mammary gland. And so mammals actually look after their offsprings. So they nurture their offspring, kan? So they had to have that kind of, you know, care and love. So is this the communal kind of brain, you know, that make you connected. So love is very, very powerful because, you know, love is attached to pleasure, you know, and the opposite of love is hate. So hate is related to pain. You hate pain. You hate something that get you into it. But love is a very pleasurable emotion. So they are extreme actually. And okay, I habiskan lah this one. The higher need for, when I said need, this is really what human need, you know. So and hence, and connecting it with right pula, they have the right to get what they need in order to live. Okay, so they have the right to be loved, again, and they have the right to love because this is all human need, human essential needs. You don't have this, you wouldn't be able to live, maksud dia macam tu lah, fully, kan? So on top of love, being loved too, it's actually more of esteem now. You know who you are, gitu, tau. And the peak of that Maslow is the peak of that pyramid is self-actualization. This is when, you know, you need to answer this question: is this world a better place because I'm around? Okay, but this is a very high level you know, it is actually spiritual kind of needs. And unfortunately, there might be people who do not reach there, kan? So padahal that is dia punya need tau, tapi dia tak isi yang tu, so that's what make it a vacuum like that. They might have it all, tapi suddenly they feel there's an emptiness because this need they want they might not realize it or they don't prioritize it. Okay, so now I think let's go to that love yang bawah tu kan, where this is actually how you can go further up. So that's why love is very important, because without love you might not be able to sort of fulfill the next need too, which is self-esteem, self-worth, yeah. And then after that, self-actualization. So cumanya, let's go back to the brain tadi kan. Why is it vulnerable? Because you know that while love can be so pleasurable and make your life, you know, so colorful, so meaningful, but being rejected, kan, it is very painful pula, kan? And this is something you really do not want to have it. So I guess that's a good start agaknya, Syiffa. You see, as a quantitative person like me, you know, nak describe abstract thing like love ni kan bukan senang tau. But agaknya bila I relate that to the brain and being a doctor, you know, I go into our biology, I think that makes things easier for me, and I hope it makes things easier for all of us jugalah kan. So now you know why love become something so vulnerable, because dia kalau tak betul, it become painful lah. From something very pleasurable, it becomes something very, very hurting, kan? So tu yang you punya tajuk tu very, very apt sebenarnya, kan? So love should not be hurting you, patutnya lah. Tapi unfortunately, you get so, you know, the pain of being rejected, you know, being neglected, being betrayed, kan? Oh, it is, you know, it is so powerful, kan? So hence, we have to discuss this and become vulnerable. Okay, Dr. Hajis nak baca sikit daripada apa yang Brené Brown tulis kan. Dia kata dia define, I hope I have defined love, you know, in all those description tadi. But now maybe kita tengok kenapa dia vulnerable and what is vulnerability actually. Dalam bahasa Melayu, I think vulnerable ni you rasa apa? Lemah macam tu, you rasa macam this is your weakest point, gitu kan. Kerentanan, kalau bahasa kalau bahasa perubatan, sains perubatan ni dia golongan rentan, the vulnerable group. Maknanya dia orang ni memang immunocompromised, tak ada immunity, so orang lain tak demam lagi dia dah demam. So this is what we call kerentanan atau vulnerability. So something like, so okay, Brené Brown dia define vulnerability as uncertainty, you know, risk and emotional exposure. Uncertainty tu buat you ambivalent tu, nak ke tak. Do you want to plunk into a marriage or a relationship ke tidak, kan? So then you become uncertain, and then you know it's risky. It involves risk. And I think the one yang I really feel really describe vulnerability to me is emotional exposure. Suddenly you feel exposed gitu. Kan you do not have your guard around you, so you exposed lah kan. So dia kata with that definition in mind, let's think about love gitu ya. Dah bacakan dalam paragraf ni. Waking up every day and loving someone who may or may not love you back. Whose safety we can't ensure. This person might be here petang ni no, he died and he just leave you dry gitu contohnya kan. Who may stay in our lives or may leave, without a moment's notice. Who may be loyal to the day they die or betray you tomorrow. Kan ya? That's vulnerability. So love is uncertain, it's incredibly risky, and loving someone leaves us emotionally exposed. Yes, it's scary, and yes, we are open to being hurt, but can you imagine your life without loving or being loved? Kan? So I think that's how Brainy put it. Tapi Dr. Har look at it as a part of your orang kata the primitive brain jugalah, primitive and the mammal brain. But of course now in our pillow talk ni, we are trying to go up there at the neocortex and to think, with our higher function. We try to reason, we try to weigh things kan. So I think, okay, Alhamdulillah. So kita taklah just, hidup macam haiwan saja kan. So okay, all yours, Syiffa.
Thank you, Dr. Ha. So when you talk about how you describe love in a quantitative way too, which is a new thing for me because Syiffa mungkin orang yang abstract sikit lah, macam tak berseni sikit. Although I learn accounting, sepatutnya quantitative, but but apa yang Dr. Ha sampaikan tu betul because dalam perkongsian yang sebelum ni Dr. Ha pun pernah kongsikan kan tentang our emotion akan affect kita punya brain development juga ataupun keadaan fikiran kita. Baik, bila kita fokuskan yang sepatutnya cinta, yang pleasure, sepatutnya dia akan membuatkan diri kita rasa bahagia ataupun in Arabic or Turkish, their words related with love is asyik. Asyik tu adalah mengasyikkan kan? Because love memang mengasyikkan. It's something yang akan membuatkan kita terbuai-buai. Tapi bila kita masuk balik dengan topik kita ni tentang relationship tu sendiri, sebelum seseorang perempuan ni terus jam je, sebelum seseorang perempuan ataupun wanita tu terlibat dengan sesebuah perhubungan, do you think it is reasonable for a woman to know what are their rights? Because in my point of view now, before this, I don't think that to think carefully or to have a deep thinking about rights adalah benda yang sepatutnya. Tapi sekarang, I think to know about your rights have been neglected. Benda tu dah jadi, well, it's usually memang parts of your life, tapi it has been neglected by the person itself, orang yang mendapat hak dan juga orang yang sepatutnya memberikan hak tu. So in your point of view, how a woman should address ataupun aware tentang diorang punya hak-hak dalam perhubungan, either diorang baru nak bertaaruf, baru nak berkenalan, ataupun diorang dah berada dalam perhubungan tu sendiri.
Okay. Now when you're talking about hak pula, I need to come from this direction, okay? There's always 3R. I think I mentioned it somewhere. Tapi sebab ada banyak sangat bercakap ni, I don't remember who I speak to, about it. So but again, that time I will go by the 3R. Responsibility, rights and respect. Okay? And this I think become a generic thing when you talk about right. Nanti kita pergi pada what you're talking about, the rights of women and semua tu lah kan. Okay. But of course I think kan love is more of a human right, men and women. and whatever they want to identify themselves with lah, you know, that it's actually the right of human. And cumanya when you're talking about right, I always talk about responsibility dulu. The sequence or turutan dia tu, the order is like that: responsibility, rights, and respect. Unfortunately, we always talk about rights saja, but not responsibility. Sedangkan, you know, you have to prove yourself worth the right. You know, hence you have to fulfill your responsibility dulu. Okay, and that goes, you know, responsibility. What is expected of you, and then kalau you dah buat semua tu, then of course you can claim your rights. You know, because you actually done your parts. And of course, rights is meaningless if nobody respect it. So that's the sequence. Okay. The analogy would be like macam when you first, report for duty kan, in any organization, you don't get absorbed immediately. You will be in the probation period where people will, it's still a trial, period where people will see how, committed you are. Do you come on time? Do you actually go back as how you're expected to? Do you meet the expectation or not? If they are happy after that probation period and they actually now making you a more permanent staff, rather than a contract or a temporary staff, then after you have been sort of absorbed into the organization to be their staff, then of course you can claim your rights as the employee of that agency of the institution. Then you would have gotten your rights for your medical benefits lah, you can now take home loans or car loans or whatever loan, because now you are being sort of you have passed the requirement lah kan. And that goes with so many other things as well. You are a wife or you are a husband. You have to fulfill your responsibility and role as one before you can actually enjoy the rights as that person kan, or that role. So this is very clear, very important. But tapi selalu tu we are always talking about rights, and sometimes you wonder why this people is, this person is talking about his or her rights all the time, but when they were nowhere there in terms of responsibility. Okay, kalau kita tengok juga kan, rights ni pun is your rights. You have individual rights and collective rights, And for us who believe that we've been created by one God, Allah has his right too. And what does that mean? He is the Khalik, and he's the creator. And we are the creature, the one created. He as the creator has actually created us in the best form. He provides pula to everything, So as a creator, he did his job. So what is his responsibility? He does his job very well. So what is his right now? So his right is to be worshipped. His right is to be thanked to be given our gratitude and our compliment. And I think that's just right. Kan? That's his right. And hence, whenever you talk about your right, your individual right, and if your individual right collides with Allah's right, there's no way that you would, just need. In fact, if you have individual rights and collective rights, because you are living in this society, kan? And it collides, these two rights actually they collide, then of course the collective rights has to sort of take precedent, to be prioritized, because you want to live in the society. A very simple example would be, another example, you might be, having your PA, your system, your hi-fi system or your audio system, and you want to enjoy your, or video and audio at full blast. And you say, it's my ears, even if the tympanic membranes get rupture, it's mine. And I pay every, single energy that goes into that, kan? But if you're living in a condominium where you have other neighbors who have their right for tranquility and peace, then by all means, you need to actually, lower down that volume. And in fact, if you don't, you have encroached into other people or the collective rights of the you know the people in that place, and they can actually call up the police because you have actually done an offense kan. Kacau ganggu kalau kita di Malaysia ni lah kan. So you have been disturbing others kan. So I think if you know that, so we wouldn't be looking at rights as just something, you know, it's my right, you know. But then after I got to know this, I will always be very careful, but you know, demanding my right. And I always feel that if I have done my duty well, then of course, you know, I would be given that right, because right is something like what people, you know, more or less give it to you, okay? It's your right, and you need that right to be respected. But remember, when you're talking about rights, don't forget about wrongs. There's human wrongs as well. And so to me, I think it's problematic if you are you're demanding your rights to do human wrong. You know, of course, the next question would be, who decide the right and wrong? Okay, for us, yeah, because we are Muslim and we live within that system way of life. So of course it's very easy. What is right and wrong is all, you know, has been sort of determined in the Quran, and is being very much lived, yeah, in the Sunnah of the prophets. Okay? Jadi, so we have no problems, you know, identifying what is right and wrong gitu kan. I think this is very important because nowadays right and wrong tu pun dah kacau bilau kan. It becomes so blurry now. Okay, so I guess and when that is actually now becoming uncertain, then of course there's so many uncertain things that comes after that as well. I don't know whether I answer your question at this point, but well I guess okay, a right to be loved, okay? So because right to be respected, right to be heard, you know, right to be given, you know, a space for you to do what you wish, macam tu kan. Of course, that is actually your right, but of course we cannot have that right for you to do human wrongs tadi lah. Kan? So right is not something which is freedom. We always say it's related to freedom, but it is not total freedom, and I know some people have problem with that. That's not freedom. Then, if there is no such thing as total freedom, then there's no freedom at all. And then I guess we have to go into our definition of what freedom is all about, lah. Okay. Okay,
betul. That is actually linked to the next question. Because bila Dr. Ha kata, apa yang penting sebelum kita fokuskan tentang rights ataupun hak adalah tanggungjawab tu sendiri. To have responsibilities before you address the rights to your partners or to whoever lah, the person yang kita sedang ada relationship kan. And very interesting when you say that rights is not just about freedom, it's also more than that, which is also, I think kalau kita settle or we have a deep understanding about it, we will not use our rights ataupun memandang hak itu sendiri sebagai benda yang you can just step on it.
Cara memilih audio yang betul.
Siri tertriggered, sorry. Sebab dia terdengar perkataan something S kot. Okay. So, tadi Syifa tanyakan Dr. Ha, apakah yang patut seseorang perempuan ataupun wanita consider sebelum untuk tentang hak mereka untuk berada dalam relationship. And then I think you make it clear when you say first responsibilities. So kita kena tahulah tentang tanggungjawab kita sendiri kan. Sebelum kita nak fokuskan kepada hak kita pula. Tapi macam mana cara terbaik untuk kita ni nak berbincang dengan partner kita ataupun dengan orang kedua dalam sesebuah perhubungan tu, either your family or your partner, about your rights. Okay tak? Macam mana Dr. Kita fokus kepada perhubungan perkahwinan dulu sebab I mean family is a different story. Okay, nanti dia besar pula. So macam mana cara terbaik untuk kita berbincang dengan jelas tentang hak-hak seorang perempuan sebelum mereka berkahwin. I think benda ni kena clear for single ladies especially sebab benda yang mengejutkan adalah walaupun dunia sekarang ni moden tapi most of us tak sedar apakah hak-hak seorang perempuan dalam sebuah perkahwinan tu.
Okay. Syifah, I guess, you know, your question seems to be quite simple tau. Tapi, and I might be able to just answer it. Okay, hak dia 1, 2, 3, 4 macam tu. But Dr. Han mungkin, I hope I had the opportunity to actually go a few steps before that, yeah?
Yeah.
Dr. Han, any relationship, any human connection, dia sebenarnya ada 5 fasa tau. But of course, as you said, rightly so, because it's easier. Bukan easier lah, macam lagi clear nak tengok tu dalam hubungan antara lelaki dan wanita contohnya yang nak commit to the next step gitu tu kan. And having said that, now kita pun dah tak boleh just kata lelaki wanita ni, ada juga lelaki wanita. Cuma I think kan dulu pun kita ada juga macam tu. Excuse me, tapi dia taklah sampai ke level yang sexual intimacy tu. So dia tak ada problem lah kan. Macam of course I love my girlfriends, you know, I love them very much. But it's not at the level of sexual intimacy or sexual affection kan. Jadi dia tak ni lah. And I'm sure my husband, brothers, orang lelaki, dia have dia punya gang yang dia ngopi, dia ngetih, dia pergi naik motor. They love them. They love each other kan. Taklah sampai pada level tu juga. So I think, you know, this relationship yang kita kena sebut sekarang ni, same sex attraction ni, dia sebenarnya bukan satu yang baru lah, tetapi it has been macam mungkin a relationship that has gone abnormal macam tu, So coming back, sebenarnya bila you have a relationship, Susan Campbell ni dia study relationship, and of course dia study ni relationship between men and women lah. Tapi dia kata it's applicable to all sebenarnya. Ada 5 phases. First adalah the romantic phase, where you are, you know, infatuated dengan the other person tu. Ini yang jatuh cinta, yang asyik tu, yang hub tu, yang semuanya jadi wangi lah, you know, bau badan pun wangi, bau angin pun wangi, you know, because you tengah di awang-awang, and you know, romantic phase ni is very unrealistic sebenarnya, and people will always thought that is love sebenarnya tau, but love is actually the whole process ni. Okay, so actually romantic phase ni they will last maybe about a year macam tu, and this is when, kalau dalam konteks teamwork ataupun coming together to work together, this is still orang kata the forming phase where everybody is behaving tau. Semuanya memang nak tunjukkan the best side of you gitu. Alright? And the second phase ni sebenarnya important, which is power struggle. Now power struggle is when you start to see that your expectation, you realize that your expectation on the other person is not met. And then you feel that, you know, your rights, you know, has been has not been given ke, you know, what you are entitled for, semua tu. So you get into the power struggle. Now Dr. Har pergi ke belakang sikit. In any relationship sebenarnya ada ni. Tapi kan sebab kita tak ada anything at stake. So kalau orang yang kita rasa tak ngam tu, kita dah tak continue lah that one. So the relationship tak continue kan. So katalah Dr. Har dengan Syifah contohnya. Mula tu baik lah kan, tapi bila tahu dah perangai Syifah macam mana, Dr. Har macam mana, dan Dr. Har tak baik sangat macam yang Syifah ingat. Dr. Har pun kata, Syifah pun rupanya baik depan, and then we decided tak payahlah yang ni. You know, when you you know, and this is actually, you know that if you stay in that relationship, there'll be tension. Sebabnya, you know, so in this power struggle, Susan Campbell dia letak situ power struggle. Dr. Har mungkin nak letak tu sebagai fasa di mana the true colours of everyone is now being very clear, and you start to make your checklist lah kan. Maknanya your expectation, 1, check. two, two, three, so you dah go into that and you realize that, hey, you not stay in this relationship ke? Kan? So in power struggle, dia ada tiga consequence tau, ya, tiga outcome. One is when there's power tension. So in power struggle, when both of you start to have a kiranya macam, yelah, expectation not met. Lepas tu you suka yang ni, dia tak suka, ya, dia suka yang tu, you tak suka, you start to see all those, apa orang kata, macam incompatibility. Yeah. So it can go into power tension. Power tension maknanya dua-dua orang tarik, you versus me, and then kalau you pegang, Dr. selalu bagi contoh yang pegang benang lah, suami pegang satu, isteri pegang satu lagi side. It's just a benang je. Yang benang ni kena tegang, tak boleh kendur, dia memang tak interesting lah marriage tu atau relationship tu, dia kena tegang, tapi dia tak boleh tegang sangat. Dan bila dia tegang sangat tu jadi power tension, when none of them nak mengalah tau. Jadi macam it's a win-lose. I win, you lose. Dia ada orang pun, dia ada person pun, I win, you lose, dia tarik betul, it will snap. So kalau dalam relationship, itu yang cerai within 4 years tu. This will bring on early divorce kalau ikut Government Institute punya ni lah, ya, research dia. So it will not be more than 5 years. So ni yang orang takut ni, ya, young and divorce kan. Baru-baru anak baru seorang, anak dua orang, kahwin tu, ya, macam, the best wedding of the year gitu. Tiba tak sampai 3 tahun dah bercerai. And so this is because they cannot handle dia orang punya power struggle tu. And this is part of love sebenarnya. Yes.
Dr. Has, interesting, nak mencelah sikit, maaf, dekat power struggle ni. So, Dr. Has sentuh, so this is the phase when orang yang dah berkahwin have the early divorce and etc. So, kalaulah seorang wanita single tu kan, to what phases they should go untuk dalam bertaaruf tu, is bertaaruf akan sampai ke power struggle.
Okay, to me kalau taaruf ni maknanya kita mungkin tak sampai lagi yang romantic phase tu, sebab kita belum tak, wallahualam, ada yang tengok dah love at first sight kan, suddenly the cupid just strike and then everything. So you will see the other guy atau the guy he used to memang dia suka sangat lah kan. Tapi of course they will still go into this power struggle. Tapi kalau misalnya dalam ta'aruf tu, there's already tension kan. Expectation not met, and itu that is not a good sign lah kan. Because maybe lepas kahwin you get infatuated sekejap tapi going back to that juga. Ataupun tak ada langsung yang romantic phase tu kan. Itu untuk yang ta'aruf yang mana kita ada orang yang kenalkan macam itulah. Tapi kalau let me finish up with the other two outcome ya. So yang satu lagi yang the second outcome would be power sharing. This is when you know that the other person is not perfect. Kita pun tahu, semua tahu lah kan, tapi your expectation is realistic lah kan. But of course there will be times when you realize, I ingat dia macam ni, rupanya dia macam tu, so what do you do ni? You nak and then nampak macam dia tengah tarik tali tu, ya. You ingat kalau you cakap macam ni, dia tak kecil hati, dia tu kecil hati sangat kan. You kata takkanlah, macam ni you buat, do you say sorry? So to me, when you say sorry tu, dia tarik, you lepaskan sikit tali you tu, so it remain tegang tapi dia tak putus lah. Okay. Tapi ada satu masa pula dia kecilkan hati you pula. You punya expectation you wasn't met, then you marah pula kan. So you tarik tali tu. So the other person dia perasan pula, dia minta maaf cepat ataupun dia dia tak sengaja, I would not do this again. Of course dia kendurkan tu, jadi dia sentiasa tegang dan tidak putus. So this power sharing is all about you plus me equals to we, atau me plus you equal to we. Yeah, and then of course this is where collaboration happens. There's respect, there's trust, and this is a win-win punya relationship. So this is a part of kesukufuan tau, compatibility is this. You know why, Syiffa, you're still with the friend that you love bertahun lah? Because your relationship is this. It's always power sharing, and power sharing comes when you respect each other lah. You respect the other person punya ni space, and then you bagi kan. Tapi at the same time you ada space you juga, and you will defend your space and your opinion, and this person pun Okay lah, dia kata, yeah, I think I agree with you. So, benda tu lah. And that is actually those people that we keep our relationship sampai sekarang. Those people yang kita ni, itu in friendship. We have not seen them for a very long time lah. Kalau jumpa pun just hi, hello, very cursory kan. Tapi kalau yang ni memang, you know, heart and soul ni. Now, that's another, the third one is interesting tau. And I think this is what kita selalu rasa macam, you know, we are catch in this situation ni kan. Where you see, this is called power imbalance. In this relationship, one person become more dominant than the other one. So if you katalah we are represented by, you know, balloon me and another balloon you, contohnya kan. Let's say me is a black balloon and you is a white balloon. So you will see along this relationship, yeah, as the relationship goes, the black balloon becoming bigger and bigger, and the yellow the white balloon is getting smaller and smaller. Contohnya, the one inflates, the other one deflates, katalah kan. Or the other way around, is the white yang, you know, you makin besar and the me becoming smaller. And this is because, you know, one person is just aggressively dominating the whole relationship. Jadi dia tarik aja. Coming back to the analogy of the thread tadi kan. This person is you know, tarik all the time. Yang tadi tu give and take tau. Ada masa you give, the other person take. Ada masa you take, the other person give. But this one, the other person tu just take aja. Or you take aja. Eh? You never give. And you are expecting and demanding the other person to just give all the time. So when one person is giving all the time, another person is taking all the time, this will cause, you know, the relationship might proceed to the next one. I haven't told you the other three phases, tapi there is abuse, there is actually a lot of oppression, subjugation, sublimation, all those mistreatment punya words lah ya, and very unjust kind of relationship. So you know the whole relationship just move to the other person. Kalau that person tarik je kan, the other person kena bagi je, so they will move to that person who is dominant, and this wouldn't be for long. But you see, these two outcome will actually go to the next phase, which is stability. So it becomes stable lah. You still okay. Kalau husband and wife pun, you know, you stable lah, yeah, stable. Tak berkocak sangat. They might be crisis masa tu nampak lah kan, tapi most of the time they sail through. And then they get into commitment. That's the fourth phase. Commitment is when you realize there's too many things, you know, at stake now. Ya, ada anak tu pula ada anak sekolah, and you are now committed to each other. Beli rumah pula sama-sama besar, and you kena bayar. These are, you know, you are now being connected by the commitment. Okay, but this relationship yang ketiga ni, they would not be able to reach the fifth stage, which is bliss. Ni yang rahmah ni. Kalau sakinah mawadah rahmah tu, yang rahmah ni is when actually kan, you tak payah pun ada this person lah. That person is not adding anything more into your life. You know, like macam, okay lah, kalau dulu maybe, you know, is your salary at the end of the month. Ataupun anak-anak you tu yang keep you together kan. Now anak you pun dah kahwin, dah dapat menantu, dapat cucu, anak you dah grad semua dah. Then they start to look at each other and say, no, I do not want to live with you. So they get divorced at that point of time. So this is the late divorcee, you know, this is the late divorce. In Gottman's Institute punya ni, dia kata, this will happen around 20-25 years. I don't know, some of you all yang dengar doktor cakap ni, your parents might be in this stage tau. Dia sebenarnya, the relationship has been very relationship tu is actually, mak ayah tu suddenly dia sama ada bercerai, memang betul-betul bercerai, pergi pihak Akademi. Tapi rarely tau, pasal dah banyak sangat estate kan, so they just estranged. So seorang pergi rumah anak-anak, tak balik dah, mak ayah, bapak dia duduk kampung. Kejap. Okay, Dr. Bonti kat situ dulu. Ni, Syiffa.
Okay. Terima kasih Dr. Ha. Saya tak tahu sama ada internet saya yang slow the connection ataupun internet Dr. Ha sebab dia macam freeze.
Okay. Okay ke?
Audience boleh dengar ke? Kalau boleh dengar, thumbs up. Okay. Kalau ada gangguan teknikal, bagi tahu. Okay. So sebab ramai yang baru join balik, just nak inform dekat semua, kita berpillow talk. Tajuknya adalah Love Shouldn't Hurt, Women's Rights in Relationship. But thumbs up, the discussion is a bit more natural sebab regardless the gender lah kan, but we are focusing on woman itself. Okay. So tadi Dr. Ha ada list out the phases in relationship, and then yang Syifa kata the interesting part tu yang tentang power struggle tu, which is I think at this stage lah yang mana the power struggle turns out to be macam Dr. Ha cakap tadi, a lot of abusive ataupun inhumans punya outcomes jadi bila berlakunya the power struggle, and this actually link kepada soalan seterusnya tentang toxic relationship ataupun abusive relationship itself, when their rights are not being addressed, they have no respect in a relationship. So dia boleh jadi sama ada seseorang individu tu sedar ataupun tidak sedar yang dia sedang berada dalam perhubungan yang abusive. And boleh tak Dr. Ha kupaskan how this power struggle will link kepada abusive relationship, in case there are people out there don't realize they are in a abusive relationship.
Okay. Nak especially for those yang baru masuk tu kan, dia in the power struggle phase, which is the second phase tu, you can actually have these three outcome tadi tu: power tension, power sharing, and power imbalance. I think power tension tu kita nampak jelas dah, they got divorced tu. Yeah, so of course masa tu in the early part pun kita nampak, they are not respecting each other's punya rights kan. Maybe one is very irresponsible, so dah nampak dah tak boleh ni, kena cabut je lah kan. So I think that's why dalam Islam pun ada this dissolution of marriage ni. Cumanya sometimes adalah faktor-faktornya kan, mungkin kita tak betul-betul kenal ataupun some other factor lah. So tak boleh nak go on. Tapi yang kita nak ni ideally yang power sharing tadi tu. And this power sharing actually there's a lot of respect, on the rights of each other. And of course they deserve the rights because both of them are responsible couple. And they are responsible. They perform their duties and their responsibilities. Of course they can actually get their rights, and the two of them respect each other's punya right. So bila orang ni tarik because you are stepping on my rights, the other person kata okay sorry, so dia pun ni kan, and that is like give and take tu tadi. So this is the one yang kita harap akan jadi masuk stability, and they enjoy each other punya ni, they get into commitment, again their responsibility added on, but they are still doing, and then they actually now teaching that on their children pula, because anak-anak pula nampak mak ayah ni always be very macam teammate kan, soulmate, teammate, good orang kata combination. They will always have dia punya syura, they will not make their own decision gitu. So anak-anak we learn to also share their power, okay, and give and take. So benda tu lah yang kita nak, supaya anak ni pula nanti bila dia kahwin, they get into the the whole situation kan. And of course this couple yang akan go into the bliss tadi tu, the rahmah tadi tu. We don't need each other actually, I can go separate way, but no, I choose to stay with you, because you have been my greatest partner kan. Tapi kalau orang yang power struggle ni, yang power struggle sampai ke power imbalance ni, Syifa, this is actually the one that we are talking. And sebenarnya macam tadi Syifa kata, dia tak perasan ke in the beginning, and then suddenly when they realize it's already being too toxic, kan? Unfortunately, Syifa, ramai orang yang selalu rasa bahawa in order for, you know, in the name of love, dia must bear this. Okay. So this one yang power imbalance ni, dia boleh sampai bertahun-tahun tu sebab the kind of mindset for both the aggressor and also the one who is passive. You know, the one who is dominant tu dia selalu rasa dia punya rights, you know, must win all the time. I win all the time, you lose all the time. And the other person pun memanglah, you know, I ni isteri kan, I mesti ikut. Okay, nanti kalau tak, you know, I ni bukan isteri yang soleh. You know, that victim punya mentality is always the reason why that person stays in the relationship. I'm not just talking this is just men being aggressive and women being passive kan. It can always be the other way around juga, because we know that almost, you know, a quarter of some people kata 1/3 of abuse in marriage or in household happen to men as well. And of course lepas Amber and Johnny Depp punya issue, you know. So to me it is not about the gender, it is about power. It's about power play. You know, it's about who is more powerful. Power comes in terms of number. That's why majority is always oppressing the minority. Yeah. Or another one is somebody who feels privileged and powerful. Ar-rijal qawamun 'ala nisa. Dia fahamnya qawama tu penguasa, ya, ketua, pemimpin, kan. Of course lah, tapi kalau dia faham qawama tu adalah protector and maintainer, you would always be that power sharing punya ni tau, bukannya yang power imbalance ni. So sebenarnya begini, okay lah Syifa, I think I just want to shortcut sikit by, you know, in my life ni kan selalu sangat, katalah kan kita ni manusia wanita ni kan, kita orang perempuan ni ibarat mentimun, tergolek pun luka, bergolek pun luka. Lelaki tu ibarat durian, tengok durian tahu kan Syifa? Ibarat durian, ya, tergolek, bergolek, tak meninggalkan kesan. That was the beginning bila Dr. Har start cakap tentang women, ya, empowerment semua. I remember in a forum ni, you know, forum ramai orang, Dr. Har jadi the third panelist lah. Especially kalau forum-forum yang pasal agama ni, those yang tak ada latar belakang agama selalu jadi yang the last one lah kan. So I think ada 3 orang kot forum masa tu. I was the third panelist. 2 orang ni memang quite popular lah ya. Seorang lagi lebih popular lah, Asatizah lah masa tu. Dan ni memang untuk orang perempuan semua ya. And this Asatizah dia kata, yelah perempuan maklum lah, dia kata, kita ni orang perempuan, dia kata kan. Ibarat mentimun, tergolek luka, bergolek pun luka. Dr. Har dah nak macam tak sawan dekat situ tau. And I see all these 500 women in the whole auditorium tu, semua duk angguk-angguk macam tu tau. Like and then dia kata, lelaki tu perempuan, diorang tu macam durian. Dia tergolek, bergolek tak tinggal pun kesan. Dia rhyme juga tau. So kan Dr. Har macam mana nak cakap ni. So when I got the microphone, so I kata, I tak boleh lah kata I don't agree with you macam tu kan. Itulah, cubanya kadang-kadang bila ada ya, analogi atau perbandingan begitu, mungkin juga kita boleh tanyakan juga kan, durian tu durian apa? Kalau durian tembaga tu mungkinlah kan, tapi kalau durian Belanda kan, kalau ranum dekat pokok jatuh cepat aja kan, tak berguling langsung pun. Okay. Satu lagi, kalau durian tu dijadikan tempoyak, ya, makan letak dengan sambal, timun ni ada cecah aja durian tu. Kan? Jadi analogi begitu tu memang pada pandangan Dr. Har, wanita ni di mata lelaki bergantung macam mana dia lihat diri dia. Kalau dia lihat diri dia lemah, dia lihat diri dia tu ya seperti kain buruk je, memanglah kena bijak-bijak je. Tapi kalau dia merasakan diri dia ya mempunyai sesuatu yang sama penting untuk dibawa di dalam perhubungan tu, kan? Then there is actually, so maknanya bila you nampak the power is going to be very dominated by another person gitu, your role is actually to bring the balance up. Maknanya, which is not easy lah sebenarnya, tetapi kat situlah yang kita kena tahu hak kita untuk dikasihi, hak kita untuk ni kan. Saya dah buat tanggungjawab saya sebagai isteri ni, Jadi mungkin hak saya adalah untuk dihormati, hak saya untuk disayangi, yang bukannya hak untuk dihina-hina dan diperlakukan begini. Begitulah. Ya. Tapi of course kalau the other person tu jenis orang yang memang gentleman ataupun seorang lelaki soleh tu, dia dah memang awal dah jadi hubungan yang power sharing tadi. Kat situ tu kan yang boleh menghasilkan sakinah mawaddah rahmah. Tapi kalau yang macam ni, this is really something that for me kan, you sendiri kena make the decision. Can you actually do something about this? Of course you have to change yourself dulu. You tak boleh be in that mentality yang victimize, under siege mentality ni saja. And selalunya bila kita change, the other person change juga. Jadi kalau the other person tak change, then you have to make decision whether you want to be in that relationship atau tidak lah. Kan? I don't know Syifa whether this actually help atau tidak. Tapi I guess this is where kita sayangkan relationship, betul, especially kalau dah kahwin contohnya kan. Tapi kita juga kena ada tanggungjawab terhadap diri kita sendiri. And of course kalau in a domestic violence, where violence erupts in the family tu, you have a responsibility to protect your children. Kan? Protect tu bukan protect physically je tau, tapi protect dari sudut you do not want this cycle to go on and on and on sampai anak you pun nanti, kalau anak perempuan dia akan kahwin dengan dia punya pendera juga, which is very this study is very is confirm lah kiranya kan, tak ada doubt dah. Atau if you raise your boys in an abusive relationship macam tu, where dia nampak violence always the way to solve problems, dan anak-anak itu pula akan jadi pendera juga. So I think kita kena fikir sampai ke situlah. Of course nanti bila kena ni Dr. Har punya ni lah nak tie up this thing. Bila husband dia dah pukul dia biru-birak tu, dia pun marah, dia buatlah polis punya report. Tapi you know lah kan, the circle of violence ni, dia ada honeymoon time juga. Nanti kan dia pun tolonglah, dia tak sengaja, dia just something gets into my head, I need you. So dia ni okay lah, kita pun percaya balik, and then kita withdraw the police report, and then he start balik. So of course you know that this is mungkin sekali, tapi tak bolehlah 2 atau 3 kali, kan? Jadi I think that one is your rights to be respected, your rights to be protected. Kalau the other person is not doing that, especially kalau you tahulah kan yang drag dia punya family, wife dia into prostitution pula ke, yang ini sangat jahat lah sebenarnya, and there's no reason for you to stay in that kind of relationship lah kan, that destroy you sebenarnya kan, destroy your self-worth tu. Jadi macam you ni tak ada harga langsung ke, macam tu lah. Okay, Syifa.
Memang totally agree with Dr. Har, sebab I think kalau baca novel, Syifa banyak baca novel, and when it comes to hak keperempuanan ni, I really love how Hamka kan dalam novel dia, perempuan lindungan Kaabah,
terusir
terusir pun juga.
Terusir tu, terusir tu I feel memang macam mana Hamka boleh write such a, dia punya empathy tu as a writer.
Dan benda tu kiranya very evergreen kan, this issue tentang penindasan kepada seorang perempuan. And when a woman, I don't know how and why a woman willing to sacrifice, I'm not saying just woman, but most of the cases is woman, sebab tadi pun ada juga pasal lelaki kena dera. But to what extent macam seorang ibu sanggup berkorban and they sacrifice themselves as well. But macam Dr. Har cakap lah, maybe to this point we really need to know our self-worth jugalah sebelum untuk kita berkorban. Because when we destruct ourselves, what else can we give kepada orang yang kita sayang? For example, like if you keep yourself in a relationship yang abusive, kena pukul or menindas maruah diri sebagai seorang perempuan tu, how you gonna to protect your loved one kan? If you cannot protect yourself juga. So I think this is very important lah macam Dr. Har cakap tadi untuk kita go through it.
Uh,
Sebab mm-mm.
korban ni tadi. Korban ni Syifa agaknya sebab insyaAllah minggu depan kita meraihkan hari raya korban. Jadi korban ni dia bukannya korban sangat sampai terkorban kita pun. Janganlah berkorban sampai kita pun terkorban tu. Okay, so of course kalau nak tengok gold standard of sacrifice atau korban tu, you have to see a mother. Mak ni dia adalah orang kata benchmark of pengorbanan dan kasih sayang. Pengorbanan adalah disebabkan oleh kasih sayang. Kasih sayang adalah orang kata asas kepada sebarang pengorbanan. Seorang ibu sanggup berkorban bila dia hamil tu sebenarnya sitting on the time bomb, anytime boleh meledak tu anytime it can just goes off and then nyawa ibu tu sebenarnya boleh terancam. Tapi kita mengandung juga ada yang sampai 10, ada sampai 12 kali every time tu memang danger pada hidup dia. Tu bila masa dia beranak tu pula, beranak tu anything can happen rupture uterus lah, lepas tu uri tak nak keluar lah, tapi we still go through it. Dan bila dia lahir pula anak tu, kita juga yang kena menyusukan korbankan tidur kita, semua-semualah. Jadi so korban itu memang boleh dilihat di dalam seorang ibu, dan itu adalah disebabkan oleh kasih sayang dia yang tak ada galang ganti dia. Itu sebab Allah memberikan kemuliaan ayah dan ibu ni untuk ditaati dan tidak durhaka pada ibu bapa tu selepas kita tidak mensyirikkan Allah tu. Jadi so macam tu sekali. Oleh sebab tu ibu asasnya adalah kasih sayang, and it's not just infatuation. Maknanya kasih sayang ibu ni bukan hanya cinta yang asyik masyhur tadilah, yang hub aja. Of course we fall in love dengan anak kita. First time dia orang letak anak kita tu kat tangan kita tu, kita nampak wow, what an ugly baby, tapi kita sayang sangat. They are so ugly, dia wrinkle dia kan, dengan basah-basah dia tu semua. Tapi ya Allah, kita rasa and of course bila kita tahu macam mana kasih sayang kita dengan pasangan kita akhirnya this is actually your symbol and the product of all that kan. Jadi kita melihat anak tu memang dengan penuh kasih sayang, tapi kita tahu tak, kita bukan sayang yang sekejap aja. Lepas tu bila dia tahu dia poop lah, semua kita kena buat, dan malam dia tak bagi kita tidur, kita masukkan dalam tong sampah, tak. So that is actually the orang kata the quality of love, and the quality of love is always being more or less measured by how much sacrifice you are willing to give. Tu yang kadang kita, if you love somebody so much, and if that person macam tak nak dengan you ke apa, you let go aja kan. And if that person comes back to you, then that is really yours lah. Tapi kalau you let go and then dia langsung tak jumpa je, memang bukan you punya pun, bukan ni kan. So maknanya walaupun sacrifice, yes, tanda kasih sayang, tapi kita pun tidaklah boleh being too tadilah infatuated sangat sampai kita tak boleh fikir secara rasional. Dan akhirnya dalam power struggle tu nantilah everything is actually tested. Okay, dah pukul 10.04 ni. Syifa,
dah 4 minit. Ya. Kita dah
ada okay.
Tapi ada ke soalan dulu daripada audience, sebab Syifa tak nampak anything on my
ada. I nampak ni. Apa yang wanita patut consider kalau lelaki yang pernah ghosting sebelum ni muncul balik untuk teruskan ta'aruf. Ada ghosting. Apa dia ghosting tu? Syifa? Sorry.
Ghosting tu macam dia berminat
missing
nak
in action.
Lepas tu, missing in action, MIA, yes. Lepas tu dia hilangkan diri.
Okay, zaman Dr. Har dia missing in action. Ni Rita. Zaman you all ni ghosting ya. Okay lah. Okay. Okay, Dr. Har rasa this is when you want to be communicating assertively, Of course, kalau you are passive, you feel very grateful lah. He finally comes back. Bestnya macam tu lah. Kalau you aggressive, you kata, what? You ingat I kemaruk sangat dengan you, boleh jalan lah kan ya. Jadi so yang tu kalau you agresif lah. Okay. Kalau passive agresif agaknya dia dah nak balik dengan you jadi you bagi silent treatment pula, bagi dia rasa pula macam mana rasanya, you know, atau you when ghosting as well, you go missing in action pula lah kan, bagi dia all the hopes and then you hilang pula pada muka dia. So that is if you are passive aggressive lah, which I think you can always make it a better ni by having an assertive punya communication ya. Rita, I would, if I'm in that situation, I would actually ask, where have you been? You know, what make you, you know, suddenly go missing, and then why are you coming back? Yeah. So all the while agaknya dia usah orang lain pula, dia ingat boleh dapat tengok orang tu tak ni, baru dia datang balik kat kita kan. So okay, if he's being very honest, one thing you decide lah whether that is the trait of honesty yang you want from somebody, even though if the truth hurts. Maknanya dia katalah kan, I actually masa tertaruh dengan you, I got to know a friend dekat tempat kerja and nampak macam ada chemistry apa semua itulah. So I know that I'm actually ada taruh dengan you. Tapi nak cakap tak nak teruskan, so actually I ada bertunang dah pun. So it hurts lah kan. Cumanya last minute tu, last month dia break off dengan I. So I think I nak continue dengan you lah. It hurts. Vulnerable kan, you feel hurt kan. Tapi now if you are assertive enough, you know this really hurts. If you are in my shoes, I guess you know you tahulah macam mana rasa dia kan. Now I have the choice of just say no to you because I don't think you get somebody to be trusted. Tapi kalau misalnya this is where you might want to give, you know, some kind of opportunity juga ke, tetapi it must be at your term, bukan term dia lah. Kan, pada pandang I lah kan. So all you know agaknya dia memang jodoh you lah. And then of course, tapi you janganlah duduk mengungkit aja ataupun you rasa dia mesti terkenang lagi tunang dia ke. I don't know lah about that. I do not know about that. Tapi I might be the person yang kata, okay, let's put everything behind. Yeah. And this is something yang maybe tu adalah make you vulnerable. Of course, panjang katalah you jadi kahwin dengan dia finally kan. Apa dalam belakang otak you mesti tu rasa ya, dia nak check handphone sama ada dia contact balik tak bekas tunang dia. And you know what? If you are doing that, that is so unsexy of you. You know, men feel it's a turn off lah sebenarnya, ya. But I think of course we can have that doubt. But now it's actually, you know, how much trust you are going to give somebody. And that is vulnerable sebenarnya. You know, you tak tahu sama ada dia akan macam tu balik atau tidak kan. Tapi to me, kalau misalnya you can accept that person and you know, you have a very high quality power sharing relationship, dia nak ingat sekejap ingat lah. Tapi you know, he will always see you much better daripada dia yang putus tunang tadi kan. Tapi kalau you ni punya perangai lagi teruk daripada dia yang tu, apa dia teringat balik dia punya first tunang tu kan. So this is actually you know, a continuous way of falling in love and making that person love you as well by being very genuine and sincere and honest in your love kan. Janganlah duk sikit-sikit, yelah I tahu I ni yang second choice, you memang like suka yang first choice, janganlah mungkin macam tu kan. So macam I kata tadi, sometimes woman has to know lah tau, you are so unsexy, you know, if you are like that kan. Sexy is not just by wearing revealing punya clothes ke apa, tak. Sexy is about, you know, kalau jadi orang lelaki pun kan, dia kata dia ni lah kan, punyalah baik hati dia sebenarnya. How did macam mana I boleh pergi ghosting hari tu kan? I would just have continue dengan this lady kan. Kan, so tak tahu lah about you all kan. Tapi kalau Dr. Har kata every day is actually a mission to sort of impress this man that I am actually 110 times better from that person yang you left me ghosting tu lah. Masa you pergi ghosting tu lah. Kan, so I don't know, but insyaAllah lah kan. Don't try too hard, tapi just be yourself kan ya. itu sebenarnya yang seksi for a woman, you know. Dia punya sincerity, dia punya, you don't really have to put all the foundation, you know, you don't really have to be maybe you know, a certain kilogram and BMI. Tapi it's your heart sebenarnya. Kan, ya? So insyaAllah. Syifah, I nak conclude dengan this one statement, you know.
Okay.
I have, Masya Allah lah, lately ni an experience of matchmaking my nieces and you know, those are close to me yang memang dah beyond 30 macam tu tak? I noticed that as compared to bila I matchmakekan maybe yang 25 ya, yang dah, yang masih yang, it's easier because they are not so, there's nothing at stake sangat tau. So it's like, yeah, this is an adventure and I go head on macam tu tau. Yeah. Tapi kalau yang beyond 30 ni, Syifah, I'm sorry lah, I'm telling this to you, you know. There's so many things at stake. You know, like, you are already working, kan, yeah? Then you already had your job, you have your own position. Suddenly, you not commit to another relationship where it make adjustment to all this, you know. And that is making you feel out of control. That because your bachelorship has become your comfort zone. Okay, so of course, so much so that bila orang tanya bila nak kahwin, ayah pakcik tak payah tanyalah, saya tak kahwin punya. And I'm afraid that most of you are in that comfort zone because you are so scared of making that move. Yang kat luar tu is your actually fear zone, kan? Now, inilah dia vulnerability yang kita sebut tadi, kan? You takut nanti cinta tak berbalas. What if that person is not faithful to you? What if tak payahlah duduk je tunggulah kat dalam ni. And bila nak make decision to commit to a relationship tu kan, oh nampak macam ya Allah, ya macam susahnya kan. This both for men and women, you know. And I think mainly because you are so afraid of being rejected and being, you know, what if this person is not the right person? Wow, I don't know how to answer that. Tapi you see, vulnerability is not a weakness. You know, it is actually our courage. Kalau Syifah, if you feel that somebody, you know, somebody is more or less eligible for you to consider, you know. So don't overthink lah maksud dia kan. Don't put too high an expectation pun. And of course, in the ta'aruf tu, you can actually, you know, to me, ta'aruf is when we modify the expectation. You know, can we actually not compromise, but can we actually put our expectation into a more realistic level, macam tu lah kan. And then kalau boleh, of course, biiznillah, bismillah, masuk. Ya, aku terima nikah di kau tu. That is actually the turning point. Of course, I might not, you know, coming up to agaknya 5 years ke apa ke, tapi knowing that, you know, it's all about power sharing, insyaAllah. Kan? So, Syifah make doa, yeah, so that Allah give you that courage. Macam tu kan, that courage. Kan dia kata ada courage je doktor tapi tak ada orangnya. No, you see, orang yang tu bukannya kita punya alasan, tapi kita punya domain, Allah yang carikan tu. Tapi actually I think the first step is actually to be courageous, you know, and tell Allah that, ya Allah, I'm ready to make this commitment, yeah. So maybe you can send me now my my tayyibin, who has always been there, tapi sebenarnya sebab I have put all the barricade because I do not want to hurt myself. So I think sisters can please, you know, just put that down, okay, and allow people to come in. Into your life. Betul. InsyaAllah. Okay.
InsyaAllah. Thank you so much, Dr. Ha. Memang it's very interesting and it's actually a big topic untuk kita sembangkan. But thank you so much for your thoughts, for your insights. InsyaAllah lah, mungkin ada orang yang keluar masuk. Boleh continue nak tengok our live session ni kan be recorded. Will be uploaded dekat YouTube channel Akademi Dr. Ha. Yes. So Thank you so much Dr. Har for your time,
Thanks
for your
Syifa. Okay,
insights.
insyaAllah. Alright. Till next month pula
Doakan
ya.
lebih-lebih sikit Dr. Har untuk
InsyaAllah.
semua
Okay.
yang masih single to keep their
InsyaAllah.
kewajiban.
InsyaAllah.
Okay.
InsyaAllah.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Assalamualaikum. Good night Malaysia.
Waalaikumsalam. Okay. Bye. Kita jumpa next month ya Syifa. Assalamualaikum.
InsyaAllah. Wassalam.